Bloody hell. That was well hard. Let's be honest. You not only want to pass your driving test first time, but you'd love to ace it. I'm going to drive the perfect driving test to show you how it's done. This is Hither Green. This is a Hither Green driving test route. Hither Green driving test center is just on my right hand side. We're going to go past it. And the point of this video isn't to show you that I'm a great driver. No one cares. But it's to show you how easy the driving test is. What makes it difficult is in here. The reason that most people fail isn't because they can't drive. Nobody's gone to a driving test center and they haven't had the ability to drive, right? The reason that you fail is because you're nervous. And then always it's the same question. I ask people after their driving test, how was it? And they say something like, it was fine. The examiner was lovely. The route wasn't too difficult. If I didn't get in my head, I would have been less nervous and I would have been able to pass it. And then you pass on the second time. Well, hopefully this video is going to show you how easy a driving test is, because if I can ace it, you can at least pass it with a few minors. Let's go. So there's two key things that are going to get me through this.
Yards, turn left, then turn right.
Cool. There's two key things that are going to get me through this route.
Turn left, then turn right.
Let's deal with this first. Mirror, signal, position, speed, look. And let's get through this next junction as well. Mirror, signal, position, speed. What's this guy doing? Hanging halfway out into the junction. If he's not going, I'm not giving way to anyone, so I'm just going to carry on. Two key things that are going to get me through this are, number one, planning ahead. And remembering the key three things that you're planning ahead for: road signs, road markings, and all of the other road users. That should occupy so much of your brain that you are physically exhausted by the end of your driving test. If you're not tired, then you could have probably focused and concentrated a bit more. So I'm going to talk you through all of that throughout my whole driving test. And that brings us on to the second key thing that's going to get me through.
Turn right, then turn left.
That's going to get me through this driving test, is talking out loud. So, mirror, signal,
Turn right, then turn left.
positioning, speed, and look. And then turning left, mirror, signal,
Turn left.
position, speed, and look. Perfect. I will promise you one thing. In this
After
video,
200 yards, turn right, then at the end of the road, turn left.
I'm concentrating really hard for one key reason. I will do no cuts and no edits throughout the entirety of this video. You know this is real. If I mess up, I will not start again. Mirror, signal nice and
Turn
early,
right,
but not
then
too early.
At the end of the road, turn left.
Adjusting my speed before I get to the junction and turn in. Here on this route is normally where they would do a maneuver, but I'm not going to do that, because the point of this is to
Turn
show you
left,
that
then at the end of the road, turn left.
to show you that the driving's great. The driving is fine. The driving bit of a driving test is not the difficult bit. And here's where the difficult bit starts. This is slightly less good visibility, so I slowed it right down there. Not taking any chances. I need to know that it's clear before I emerge from the junction.
At the end of the road, turn left.
Thanks. If you're worried about maneuvers, or if maneuvers are your thing, then click this video. I've gone through all of the maneuvers and made it simple. The point of this is to show you that driving around a driving test is not difficult, and that's where we get in our head, and that's what makes it difficult.
Turn left.
Mirror, signal, position, now and then speed, back into first gear, and look, it's clear, so I don't need to stop, I can keep going. I'm talking it all out in my head, planning ahead what's happening next on the road, because it's a new road. Some people say new road, new rules, or new road, new hazards. Both are good. Whenever you're on a new road, remind yourself to look as far down it as possible and then work your way back along the pavements. If you've got that into your head and ingrained, it's much easier to spot road signs, which is a key common thing that people miss. And now I'm looking for the road signs. I can see there's 2 bus lane signs coming up, which is prompting me to think about bus lanes. I can park that for a second and just deal with what's happening now. I'm keeping it in second gear. I would get better fuel efficiency right now in third gear. My engine's asking me, or the dashboard's asking me to go up a gear. But because then I can hear the engine, it's much less easy to go over the speed limit and fail my driving test. So 7 till 10, 4 till 7, nice and easy. I can stay in the bus. I should stay in the bus lane rather than I can.
After 200 yards, turn right.
Turning right next. Okay, just watching out for these pedestrian crossings because they will have pressed the button. I was too close to stop for that one. And if I'm turning right, I want to make that lane switch as early as I need to. So I'm considering it a lot earlier than I'm going to do it.
Turn right.
And if there's heavy traffic, I'm going to try and move across nice and early. And if it's nice and clear, then I can move across a lot later. I don't need to go handbrake and neutral. Not necessary. I just did that there to show you and talk to you about the fact that it's not necessary. You can keep it in first gear, clutch down the whole way at a traffic light. Right, checking my mirrors before I set off. That's important. You won't necessarily be marked down for not doing it every time you pull away. But if there's a cyclist or a motorbike and you miss it, we just want to have the least possibility of you failing your driving test. And if you do all of the mirror, if you have perfect mirror usage, then you're diminishing the possibility that you could fail. I'm just gonna squeeze up to the line. So this is perfectly fine. Clutch down, foot on the foot brake, I'm in first gear. I would recommend that because if I'm first in the queue, as soon as the lights change, I wanna be able to just set off nice and easily instead of having to, yeah. I want to be able to set off nice and easily instead of having to fumble for the gears, the handbrake and everything else. So we don't want to do that. We just want to be able to keep it nice. Say again?
What's this for your protection on the road?
Yeah, dash cam times 100.
Is it? Like, you got bare up in there.
Nice one. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to put any cuts or edits in this video, so that's going to stay in. And the thing is next, right, here at a traffic light is where you're going to start chilling out and relaxing. Don't do that because something's going to happen next. And what's happening next is we're turning right. So use this time not to chill out. Use the time to scan what's happening next in the road. Think about how you're going to do this really quite difficult junction. I don't think I forgot to signal there, did I? I think I did forget to signal there. Damn. And I said I wasn't going to restart. I was fully put off by those people, which just shows the point that actually small lapse in concentration, game over. Game over. Right, okay, 20 miles an hour on this road. I've seen it. I'm thinking about what's ahead on the road, planning perfectly ahead. So actually, do you know what I'm going to do? If it was me and I was just driving, I would keep it in third gear because I'd use less fuel. But right now on a driving test, I want that engine noise. Because then I don't have to keep looking down at my speed. I can just keep my eyes focused ahead and use my other senses to hear when the engine noise is lowering, which means I'm slowing down. Engine noise is rising, I'm speeding up, hit 20. And now listen, I want to keep that noise right there. Not a lot happening here, but this is where you get lulled into a full sense of security. You're thinking there's nothing happening. Now I can start thinking about my examiner. Does he like me? Does she like me? What's happening? When I get home, am I passing so far? Am I failing? But that's taking your attention away from the test. 3 things: planning ahead, road signs, road markings, other road users. There's a lot of stuff actually happening with the other road users here, and we just passed a bunch of signs which are going to tell you what's happening next. Road signs, actually, think about how expensive it is to put up a road sign. Probably cost the council thousands. They wouldn't do it unless it was important information that they needed to convey to you. Boom. So really, we want to be looking at all of the road signs, 20, especially the triangle ones, the hazard signs, because they're telling you that there's some hazards, a hazard that you need to be aware of coming up next. Right, bus, we're going to plan this. In fact, the bus is moving off. Great. That makes my life a little bit easier. And this is kind of where the driving test can be, I've said it before, that it can be a little bit unfair because anything could happen on a driving test. 30 miles an hour, because I'm scanning the pavements, I'm looking at and seeing that sign. The driving test can feel a little bit unfair because anything could happen. Is that fair that anything could happen? The guy before me's driving test was nice and easy, but my driving test had a whole bunch of hazards. But here, this is the thing, like, Once you pass, you don't just want to drive around your local area. You want to be able to drive anywhere. And the key reason, or the key thing that you're going to use to be able to do that, is planning ahead. If you can just see what's next on the road and deal with whatever's next, which you can. If you're taking a driving test, you've built up that skill, checking the mirror because I'm slightly moving right, then you will be able to pass a driving test. Not necessarily anyway. You do want to be familiar with the roads that you're taking a driving test in. But if you keep planning and never stop planning, and it's only 30 minutes, there should be nothing there that you can fail on, because by the time you've completed your driving lessons, you'll have dealt with everything. You'll know how to do each and every junction. The hard bit is getting your head around the fact that you are now doing a driving test. I promise you, that is your barrier to success. 25 miles an hour, it's not 30.
300 yards, go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
Cool.
Then turn left.
But I'm keeping back from this van. If the van speeds up, then I'll speed up. I don't want to get too close because we're not in a rush. We are not in a rush, but we want to get on with it. Bus stop. I'm just going to slide left with a couple of mirror checks there to position nice and early so that I don't have to signal to turn left, because that would have
Go
confused.
left on the roundabout and take the first exit, then turn left.
Sorry, so I didn't have to signal to change lanes because that would have potentially confused that junction there. When I'm sitting at a roundabout, if I'm not first in the queue, I'm going to keep looking to the right to see the pattern of the traffic. Each roundabout kind of behaves differently, and if you go to different exits on the roundabout, each exit will behave differently as well. There we go, there's my gap and opportunity. Get on with it on a roundabout. When you emerge, get up to speed. Right, new road, new hazards, scanning all the way down the road and then working my way back around the pavements. Couple of signs coming up, none that are massively important, but I'll keep in mind that things could change. It looks like there's some traffic, but I'm doing
After 400 yards, turn left.
29 miles an hour right now. 400 yards, turn left. I'm gonna keep that in my head, but look at the screen as well. I've done so many mock tests, and I think the main thing that people are missing when it comes to satnav use is A, they haven't practiced on one enough, B, they haven't practiced on a TomTom, this specific system that they use on a driving test, and C, you're listening to the voice instructions, because when your instructor guides you around, they guide you by voice.
Turn left.
So you think that you could still listen and use the TomTom voice to guide you around your driving test. You actually can't. You really do need to look at the screen, because the screen is the only thing that can give you clear-cut information. The voice guidance absolutely can't. In 400 yards, turn left, what does that mean? Which left? How do I count 400 yards? Well, you don't really need to. You can look at the screen and see which left you're taking. Here we go. This is where it's going to get interesting. 50 miles an hour, and I didn't pick this route on purpose. I picked a random route that is saved in the TomTom. And we've ended up on the A2. So again, it's difficult, it's tricky, but if you've done this on lessons, I mean, if you've never done this, and shout out to Dara, because we came onto a slip road and a dual carriageway on her mock test, and she'd never done it before. So we kind of paused the mock test and I guided her through it, but you do not want to have the first time that you do something to be on your driving test. So if you've got a good instructor and you've been through everything, none of this should faze you. I've done it before. Yes, now I have to do something which is slightly more tricky on a driving test, but if you've done it before, then you'll be able to do it again. And once you pass your driving test, you'll be able to do it again and again and again solo, because you've done it once. This is a conversation I had the other day as well. You don't have to necessarily have done that roundabout. You just have to have done roundabouts and understand the rules. And then you can apply those rules to every single roundabout that you ever do again. So really, driving anywhere and everywhere should be mega accessible. Let's kick it. Speed up, indicate, find a gap in the left lane. 46, 47, 48. Let's stick it in fifth gear. Relax on the speed, signal right.
100 yards, keep right.
There's a car just behind me, but I'm gonna emerge in front of them. And now I'm gonna relax into the road. Scanning ahead, checking the satnav to see where I'm exiting. And she said something weird there. Keep right.
Then take the exit.
I'm keeping right, not changing lanes. Keeping right means keep out of the left lane. And do you notice that there's a white arrow on the screen as well? The white arrow is the place that she's giving us that information for. So it wasn't, she said keep right back there, but actually she means keep right here. keep out of the left lane because the left lane's going somewhere that you don't want to go. Cool? Keeping out of the left lane is what she means by keep right. So I'm not going to actually move to the right. Just remember, that's such a good tip. Actually, that's such an underrated tip. I'm going to say it again.
After 3/4 of a mile, take the exit.
When the satnav is giving you an instruction, she's giving you an instruction at the white arrow. So if she says keep right, it's not right now. Keep right is where the white arrow is, which was exactly where those lanes split into 3 and the left one was going somewhere we didn't want to go. Actually, do you know what? Because I know that one of the main things that people are lacking when they come for mock tests is they haven't practiced on a TomTom, or they haven't practiced a satnav at all. So I made
After
this video.
800 yards, take the exit, then go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
Cool. I made this video a while ago, but it's still super relevant. Click that one. It's how to use a satnav, everything you need to know about using a satnav. And I'll put all of the links to the videos that you need that I'm referencing in the description box below.
Take the exit, then go left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
We're leaving at the next exit. So I'm going to signal at marker board number 2. Hopefully you've done a dual carriageway lesson. If you haven't, then I've got everything that you need to know about motorways here, which is kind of the same but harder and faster. So you can click that one again, it will be in the description box. Okay, along here, the slip road
After 300
is still
yards,
50 miles
go
an hour.
left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
It's 50 until I hit that 30 sign. So I'm going to keep my speed up and just start slowing down as I approach that roundabout. It's first exit, so it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Let's indicate from here. Slightly earlier than normal, but we're at a slightly
Left on the roundabout and take the first exit.
at a slightly higher speed. And if I was on a driving test, I would say that. I would say whatever I'm thinking that justifies my actions, because I can make that. That's a nice gap. If I'm thinking it, the examiner should probably know about it. If they're assessing my driving, they should
After
probably
600
know.
yards, turn left.
They should probably know my thought process as well, right? That's kind of helpful. I might have done something wrong, but if my reasoning was correct, oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. Why did he signal that early? Because there was no other junctions and my speed's a bit higher. Oh, okay, cool, that makes sense. Nice. What your examiner can't do is ask you why you did something, because that prompts you to give the answer like, oh, did I do something wrong? Okay, I'll just justify it. So explaining your thought process and what you're doing along the driving test route is super helpful. Which is why commentary, this is like the two...
After 400 yards, turn left, then you have reached your destination.
Okay, the two main things that are getting me through this, if I did a driving test again, I would focus on commentary, saying it out loud, say what you see, speak it, and planning ahead. Not this one, it's the next one at the lights. Okay, cool. Commentary keeps not only you focused, but it helps the examiner understand what you're doing.
Turn
And
left, then you have reached your destination.
I did probably one of my favorite videos ever about commentary. If you're into Stephen Bartlett as well, there's a Stephen Bartlett reference in there. There it is, it'll be in the description box as well. Use commentary on your driving test, it will massively help you pass, I promise. New road, new hazards.
Your destination.
What am I thinking here? 20 miles an hour, looking all the way down the road. The next hazard that I'm coming up against is a zebra crossing. Not a massive issue. So I'm just gonna sit here at 20 miles an hour. I'm still in second gear. I don't care about fuel efficiency. I'll spend the 50p extra to have an easier time on my driving test. It's probably even less than 50p. Because having come off a 50 road and then a 30 road and now having this super wide road where I can see all the way to the end be 20, this is I'm gonna easily creep over if I'm not focused on that sound. Okay, now I'm gonna be switching off and thinking about what's happening, about my driving examiner, about whether I passed or failed, about bloody hell, that dual carriageway section was well hard. So, what was that accent? Why did I do that? No idea. So here's where I'm gonna really keep myself focused, because I don't wanna switch off. I don't wanna, okay, I'm gonna just slow down here, let this guy get to the edge before I cross it. Nice. When the road gets easy, you switch off, your mind wanders. You have to actively work so hard to counteract that, especially where the examiner's not going to be chatting. If it was your driving instructor, they'd be chatting to you when the road gets easy and then say, hey, what do you think what's coming up next, to refocus you onto the road. Give way. See why it's so important to check signs? I bet you missed that. I bet you would miss this. Give way line if you didn't see that road sign. And we have to be actively looking for road signs to be able to see them. God, I'm concentrating so hard. So the satnav's ended, which is the end of independent driving. Luckily, I do know the route, the end of this route. So I'm going to keep following the end of this route back to the test centre and slowing it right down. I'll just flashing amber, cool. I'll just direct myself right back to the test centre. So at the roundabout ahead, I'm going straight on. It's the second exit. This looks tricky, so I want to be thinking about this in advance. I've counted 1 exit, 2 exits, and I can even ask, what is it, that one? And the examiner will say, yes, it's that one. Mini roundabout, so I don't need to signal off it. I could have done, I could. You wouldn't get penalised for signalling off a mini roundabout. It's optional, you don't have to do it. So I'm going to lower the workload and just focus on my steering. Okay, new road. Again, a completely different road to the one before. And this is why it's so important to have certain things drilled into you, because then you don't have to think to do them. Like planning ahead should be automatic. A mirror check as soon as you come up to something that's gonna make your car move should be automatic. When I'm driving with a student in the driving seat and I'm in the passenger seat, I know exactly when to look for a mirror check. If something's coming up that I know that they're gonna have to move around for, I'm gonna look at them to see that they check their mirrors, and the examiner will do the exact same thing. Like what's coming up now is I know that I'm gonna move my car because the car was oncoming and there was a nice space on the left. I knew I was gonna move left before I did it. It wasn't instinctive. I'm not gonna do anything by instinct. When you walk around, it's very normal to be on your phone, to listen to music, to not really think too hard while you're walking, because your body will just do it. If you think like go this way, your body's just gonna go that way for you. You can't do that while you're driving. You have to drive proactively, not instinctively. Right, okay, I'm turning right at the end of the road. So I know I'm gonna move left in a minute. I'm checking that in advance. Move left for this width restrictor. If I'm on a test, I'm gonna go into first, but I would normally take them as second. It's fine if you do too. That is super mega clear. Let's take it. New road, new hazards. Traffic lights, the road's opening up. So what else have we got? Still 20 miles an hour. I haven't seen a speed sign to change it. It means the speed is exactly the same, and there it is confirmed. Checking behind while I brake for that. It's intense. It's intense. Like, this is the best drive you'll ever have to do in your life. You never have to concentrate this much to drive anywhere ever again after this, but you do have to earn the driving test. It shouldn't be difficult though. Like, honestly, the route so far that you've seen me drive now, I chose an interesting route that took in a bit of everything. But has it been hard? Do you think that if you drove this route with your driving instructor, you would be able to ace it too? I hope the answer is yes. But that means that if you drove it with a driving examiner, there's no reason why you wouldn't ace it just the same, right? Because the examiner is just a person. They're just doing the same thing as your driving instructor, but the other side is the other side of the job. So by the time you finish your driving lessons or get to near the end, you shouldn't be driving around with your instructor helping you and telling you what to do. They should be letting you make decisions. Whether they're right or wrong, you need to be able to make your own decisions on the road. So your instructor should be letting you do that and help you be able to do that. So then when you get to your driving test, you're used to making decisions. You're used to being able to back yourself. If you do something, don't need to question it and go, oh, was that wrong? Because you're used to making decisions and backing yourself. Because like, it might sound difficult on a driving test. This guy's watching me. I've got no one to help me, but you should be used to that by then. You should be used to doing mock tests with your instructor, or at least independent drives where your instructor will mark you. And if you haven't done that, then it might be time to ask your instructor whether you're going to do that soon, please. Please let me do a mock test, or at least let me drive independently while you mark me, and then at the end give me the assessment. Because once, it's not even about the driving test. Once you finish your driving test and pass, you're gonna actually have to drive on your own. I mean, you don't have to, but that's the goal. Driving with no help, no assistance, you're on your own, which means you have to back yourself. There's not even an exam, like the examiner will stop you crashing. They won't let you crash. They'll let you mess it up, but they won't let you crash. So they're like a backup. They're at least some form of backup right there for you. When you're on your own, there's literally no backup at all. You have to be confident that you can make driving decisions and live with them and back yourself. And I recently talked to people about this, like independent driving versus mock tests. Some people say that mock tests are really useful. Some people say mock tests overhype this situation. I haven't quite decided. I've explained this massively in a members video. I went on about it for a while because it was blowing my mind and I'd never thought about it before, but I've still not decided. Are mock tests overhyping the driving test situation and should we get rid of them? Or is independent driving, just give me 30 minutes of independent driving, it's not a driving test, you're just not helping me. Is that more helpful? Anyway, we're coming up to the end of the driving test situation now. I'm gonna say it again just one more time because this is so important. Your two key things to get you through a driving test are, number one, planning ahead. And what you're planning for is road markings, road signs, and all of the other road users. And number two is say it out loud. I hope that this has been mega helpful. Here the Green Driving Test Centre is just on the right. YouTube thinks that you'll also love this video. It will massively help you pass your driving test. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace, bye. Bloody hell. That was well hard.